If you are a Dallas fan, you need to hear this. If you're an Eagles fan, you need to hear this. If you're a sports bettor, you need to hear this. One sec. Cancun on 1, 2. We are live for this Wednesday afternoon. I am the host. I am the president. I'm the CEO. They call me Moss Money. We got half the money team here. Hopefully, Mr. Teaser King himself can join us. If not, we'll get some plays out. But we still got our guy, the other half of the money team, who feels he can out-Howie, if that's a word we can say. Your favorite professional gambler, professional bettor, CSharp. What's up, bro?
What's up, guys? Ready for the off season.
Ready for the off season?
Yeah, I'm one of those weirdos that I like the off season more than the games. I know that sounds crazy. Like, I'm more of an off season ego. Like, this is gonna sound super crazy, but I'm a fan of the front office. Like, people like root for players. I root for Howie and Jeff. Like, that sounds crazy, but that's how I'm wired. So I really judge the season based on how I think the two guys at the top constructed everything. And I think they did a poor job. And I think the proof is in the pudding. I think it's pretty obvious they meddled for sure with Matt Patricia. And whenever they promoted him, I don't think that was a Nick Sirianni thing. I think that came from upstairs. And, man, when they did that, it just seems to me like the veterans on the team quit. That's just how it – I've watched a lot of tape. That looked like a team who quit. And people want to blame James Bradbury, and he was awful. But, hey, if you're going to blame somebody for being the reason they lost when he's not the only reason, sometimes they're going to Olay that shit on purpose. People are humans too, and they've got, emotions. And do I think James Bradbury literally didn't care about that playoff game? Yeah. Like, I think that's a fact. But that's sometimes what happens when you blame it on one person. We tried to blame it on Sean Desai. We tried to blame it on Nick Sirianni. We tried to say Jalen Hurts regressed. I mean – it comes down to Jeff and Howie. Yeah. They just had a bad season. They made a couple bad decisions, and it bit them in the ass. That's all it is.
Yeah, no, I did. The collapse for the Philadelphia Eagles was probably the biggest collapse I think I've ever seen in sports and across all sports. I've never seen a team start off as good as they did, even with their issues and, holes that we saw. I look at it, they were still a 10-1 team, firmly in control of their destiny, and they fumbled again. And now we're here talking about it, seeing videos of Jason Kelce tearing up on the field, seeing videos of Jason Kelce on his podcast as well, getting emotional, talking about, making that decision, which has already been taken away from him, right? It's already been reported he's going to retire. Everybody in the city knew that this was more likely his last year. But you can't even give it the old head, the Grizzly veteran, a legend in this city, the dignity and the privacy to let him announce it himself in the right way, the way he sees fit. So everybody's so quick to hit the, to get those clicks and likes and be the first to say I reported it and stuff like that. I think it is a disservice to him that he can't even announce it firmly for himself when he feels the need to. But we are where we are. Philadelphia Eagles lost. So quick recap: Eagles lost, Cincy lost, Miami lost, Pittsburgh lost, Dallas lost, and the Rams lost. All going to Cancun at this moment right now. So we're down to, basketball terms, the Elite Eight a little bit here, and we're going to get ready to go until we get to the Final Four, and then we get to the Super Bowl. So we had a great weekend last week. In terms of betting, our bracket got kind of messed up. We were 2 for 2 in that. Well, no, 2 for 6. I'm sorry, and no. 4 out of 6. I'm sorry, we missed on 2 games on that bracket. The Houston game and the Dallas game is what we missed on. So that's okay. We'll tighten it up and be better. Obviously this week, and we hit out of park in terms of our bets. I'm not sure if there was a bet that we didn't have a good take on. And we're here to make money, and that's what we're here to show you how to do this as a side hustle. So if that's what you like to do, make sure if you're new to the channel, welcome to MoneyPot Betting.
MoneyPot.
Make sure you hit that like, hit that subscribe button. And if you're back for another episode of MoneyPot Betting, we thank you for always coming back. And let's get this show on a roll on the money team. Looks like I lost Sharp there a little bit, maybe a little bit of a connection, but the show must go on. So we will share and use our handy dandy sports book. Got Sharpie back there. All good, bro.
Yeah,
all good.
Boy, sorry about that. My internet is struggle bus. I'm like the Eagles offense right now, just struggle bus.
I hear that. All good, man. All good. We kept the show going and we kept it rocking. So let's go with the first game of the day. AFC. We'll do all AFC first, and then we'll switch it to NFC. The Baltimore Ravens versus the Houston Texans. Baltimore favored by 9. Money line is -400. Big favorites here in Baltimore. They played first game of the year, and Baltimore pretty much rolled them. I think it was like 26-9 or something like that. Obviously, the Houston Texans are a different team. What was it?
I think it was 22-9. You might be right. 26-9 or 22-9. Stroud struggled. Lamar didn't even play good. It was an ugly game.
Yeah, it was an ugly game. They got their ass whipped, though, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Looking at this game, a lot of CJ Stroud love, and as they should. They showed out last game at home. I think the weather is a big factor in this game for me. I believe the weather's supposed to be freezing, if I'm not mistaken, cold Baltimore weather in this time of the year. So we're doing this show on Wednesday. I don't have the full report for Sunday. We know what they're telling us, but it might be best to wait a little bit. But the line hasn't shifted. The line hasn't moved. I think, man, I like Baltimore here. I really do. I think the line is telling. -9 is a huge favorite, but I just don't. I think this weather is really going to affect Houston. They're not going to be able to throw the ball. They're not going to be able to run the ball with Singletary a little bit. And I think in this game, now he's played in cold, right? He's played in Buffalo, so he knows how to play in cold. He's played against Baltimore before. I have to go look back and see what kind of success. He looks like a better runner than he did back in those days. He's never really got that bell cow. He was always in a split. I forget the other guy that was there with him in Baltimore. And he kind of journeyed a little bit, and now he's found his home in Houston with this. But I think the weather really plays a factor into this game. I think the weather really plays a factor with Baltimore. Houston likes that fast surface, obviously playing in the dome in Houston. But give me Baltimore -9. I was looking for some prop plays to play here. I can't put my finger on, where this might play. But I believe this is going to be Baltimore's year, man. Give me the Ravens -9. Small bet though, not a huge bet for me. But give me Ravens -9.
Yeah, so I like that take a lot. I'm gonna speak up for a couple minutes here because this is like a big picture. This is like a macro level view of this game and a micro level view of this game.
Yeah, go for it.
So CJ Stroud, rookie, right? Mike McDonald, defensive coordinator, young defensive coordinator. I think personally, if there's anybody that's going to be that next Bill Belichick, and I'm not saying win 6 Super Bowls, I'm just talking that defensive coordinator that can become a head coach and is truly special. Like everyone was talking about, Brandon Staley's this wizard. Well, the dude turned out to be a clown. This dude, Mike McDonald, I truly think is like a genius. He took over. He started working up the ranks. John Harbaugh found him, worked up the ranks, and then Jim hired him to fix Michigan's defense. This kid was in his 20s, fixed Michigan's defense in his 20s. And then after fixing Michigan's defense, Baltimore with John, they're about to pay Lamar. Their defense fell off. They're like, well, dude, I need that dude back because my defense sucks. So they passed him back.
Yeah.
And during that time, Mike Macdonald kind of groomed another young guy, Jesse Minter. He left Jesse Minter with Michigan. We saw how good he did this year with Michigan. They kind of capped off a natty. My guess is Jesse's going to go with Jim wherever he goes in the NFL. Well, Macdonald schooled C.J. Stroud when he was at Michigan as the defensive coordinator, and a young C.J. Stroud was a quarterback for Ohio State. What C.J. likes to do is exactly what Mike Macdonald likes to take away. So this is one of those like X's and O's, Bill Belichick versus Peyton Manning. And remember when Peyton Manning used to struggle? It was when he had to go to New England versus Bill Belichick, and he was not only facing Bill, but he was facing the elements. This is the same thing. This is C.J. Stroud having to go against a wizard defensive coordinator in the elements where he needs to pass to win, and he's not going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take it a step further. Not only do I not only just like Baltimore here, but I like under Houston team total. They're going to get punched in the mouth.
I didn't even think about that one.
And then I also like C.J. Stroud under 240 passing yards. He's
I was looking at that.
He's just not going to get to 240 in the wind with Mike Macdonald. I'm just telling you right now. I've watched these guys. Mike Macdonald is the next Bill Belichick. I'll put my name out there right now. We've talked about the Eagles. If I would fire Nick Sirianni and hire Mike Macdonald tomorrow, I'd fire Nick today. I would hire Macdonald as soon as the playoffs end. I would steal him from the Ravens. That's just how I feel. I think that dude is that special. So, yeah, I'm with you. This is you could go three ways. You go same game parlay and maybe take C.J. Stroud under passing and Baltimore, however you want to do it, get some odds. But I love Baltimore. My only hesitation with Baltimore being the biggest bet is I do think Houston's got a good defense, and I think D'Amico Ryans is really good. So if the inclement weather could also affect Baltimore, whose offense is not a juggernaut. They really are Lamar Jackson-centric with tight ends. You know, yes, Zay Flowers is explosive. Yes, Odell Beckham's explosive. But if it's 15, 20-mile-an-hour winds and freezing, it's just hard to pass. Lamar's not Josh Allen. He's not Patrick Mahomes. He's a great football player, but he doesn't have that plus arm to drive the ball in the wind. He just doesn't. So I like a lot of things here, unders, team total unders, but my favorite bet for sure is C.J. Stroud under 240 passing yards.
Yeah, I love the take. I love the bet. Didn't know the back end on the coaching part. I think you talked about it a little bit in the chat a little bit. I didn't get a chance to do some research on it. But I think the spot is spot on in terms of the take of the philosophy of it, right? You got a star accurate quarterback who plays in a dome coming out to the elements against a defensive wizard who takes away things you like to do. So now you got to find another way to win. And not even that. He doesn't have all – I mean, Nick Collins has been great.
But they're going to take Nico out of the game. And you don't have Tank Dell. So now it's like now you're relying on Noah Brown to beat the Ravens. I don't know.
Yeah, like they just – and this is why I thought they were going to lose to Cleveland, because they just didn't have enough offensive power. But Cleveland shot the bed, and then Flacco was Flacco, right? Didn't even look at the fact that Flacco had so many turnovers in every game. He had like 10 or 12 turnovers, but they were winning, so it kind of got masked. And now it came out, they gave up 2 pick sixes in that game, and D'Amico Ryans caught a beautiful game. And I think that you're right about this being a defensive matchup, especially in the elements. I lean Baltimore in that spot because Baltimore plays in the elements. Right, they know what this game is going to be like, and they know what this game is going to feel like, especially being in Baltimore. Love the take, love the call on the under here. The team total I think is I wish it was at 17.5, but the line is pretty sharp at 16.
Yeah, the under's coming down. It opened at 45. It's already at 43.5. So I'm not the only one here. We're not the only ones here in rocket science thinking this is going to be this is pretty common in football, right? It's just I'm gonna go. I feel like C.J. Stroud is a Peyton Manning, and I don't mean like necessarily be that good. I just mean he's a guy that's going to be totally dependent on home field advantage in the playoffs, just like Tua. Tua Tagovailoa needs Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Patrick Mahomes to come to Miami in January. If he's got to go to them, he's a dead duck. It just is what it is. Like, and C.J. Stroud isn't quite Tua Tagovailoa in terms of weak arm, but he's a finesse passer. He's a Drew Brees. He's a Peyton Manning. He's got to be indoors. He just does.
Yeah, it won't let me do the parlay, so I'm switching over to DraftKings.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me switch over to DraftKings for everybody, so we can just see the odds and see if it's worth another play here. I want to make sure that we get you guys those numbers so we can see them. Some of the sports books have been having issues on their site. I know DraftKings yesterday had an issue with being able to get money out and make bets. Right now it's a little bit more chalky, right? It's -10 on DraftKings. So the great thing about betting in Pennsylvania is that you got multiple books. So you got to shop, right? And you got to find your value in terms of when you shop around. So great thing to look here about getting the better of the number. For whatever reason, we can't do it on ESPN. So move to DraftKings, and right now we're taking under. So here, it was a set number.
Yeah, you're gonna have options.
So now we can play with it a little bit. So if I was taking Baltimore straight at -9.5, I would probably do my under 20.5 here. Oh, it won't let you do it. That's probably why.
I kind of, if you were looking for a little value on the alt line, I kind of like Houston under 14.5. Houston under 14.5. That's +120. I mean, everything's favored to the under, so you're not going to get a ton of value.
No, you're not.
Even CJ Stroud's under is 115. So I mean, like,
let's see.
I just think it's a matchup. CJ Stroud's going to have a tough time passing, man. It just is what it is.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I love the take.
And I could even see, honestly, I think a really sneaky good bet too is CJ Stroud over rushing, because I think there's going to be times on 3rd and medium where they take all of his options away. His only option is going to be what he had to do versus Georgia, and that's going to have to be to freaking throw his body on the line and get those 5 yards.
Yeah. See that? Nah, they don't like nothing under in the same game parlay.
Sometimes there's some, and they do that. Books are smart, right? Like they know they'll block. What happens is like the 24 hours, 48 hours out, they'll offer set same game parlays, and it'll have a couple under. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of how DraftKings does it. They'll give you a set playlist of. They won't let you pick the parlay. Essentially, they'll pick the same game parlays for you.
Yeah, we just had to up the same game parlay. So Baltimore straight at -9.5 and under 20.5 for Houston. You only get +104.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
So the books are already hedging against that.
Yeah, it's even. It's pretty much even money. So you would have to go a little bit, like Sharp was saying, get a little bit aggressive in terms of your underplay. Under 14.5, it's still not even really that much.
That's why my top play is that CJ Stroud passing under, because I think the one thing you can bank on, right? Even on a team total, like you could have Baltimore gaff a special teams play, Houston come up with a strip sack fumble, and they score 14 points in an unconventional way. What I'm almost 100% sure of is CJ Stroud's not going to have a good passing day. He might be able to manufacture points by running. He might be able to dump but I just don't see an aerial attack versus this coordinator in this conditions. I just don't. And you know me, CJ's my guy. I'm fading my guy here.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I like the bet, and and if those who like the little parlay bets, it's not the our scratchy ticket type parlay, bet small, win big. But here's your line here, Baltimore -9.5 and under, CJ Stroud, 240, 2-1 play, which is still a decent play. When you guys got to think about when you bet, yes, do we want to win a lot of money? Well, we always want to be consistent, and meaning that we win more than we lose. So when you come in to the casino or anything, your first sense of when you gamble and when you bet is a double up. If you can double up, that is the status quo. I know people get in there and they get hot and they get going, and it's like, oh, this is the day. No, it's not. Go in there, double up, get the hell out of Dodge, and come back and do it tomorrow. And that's how you make money, sports betting. and gambling just in general. So I know counting on your bankroll, but if you put 50, you win $100 total and 150 payout. That's a pretty good bet. That's a decent bet for those who, for more of our more recreational and kind of just getting into sports betting bets. I like it. All right. So we got I'm going to make this bet on ESPN just for full disclosure. This is minus 9.5, so I'll go on ESPN bet and get the 9. I don't like the hook here. I said this is going to be a smaller bet, but Sharp, you just kind of convinced me. I'm going to up it up. This would be a 2-unit bet for me. I really like this bet, though. It might get a little bit more damaging. Might even add a little bit more once I get a full weather report.
Yeah, the only other game thing I was thinking, it does feel like a Justin Tucker. Kind of feels like a Justin Tucker, maybe not a bunch of touchdowns scored in this game, maybe more of a couple three or four field goals.
Yeah, I like that play. I like that play too.
So I think Diddy was the first one to point out. Remember when Harbaugh, what was it, the Steelers game? They screwed around, or the Bills game? One of those games, they screwed around with timeouts. They went for it a couple times early in the first half, didn't take the points, and it bit him in the ass.
Yeah.
And then remember, ever since then, he was like, Justin Tucker, field goal. It was like he just realized, just take the 3. So I went back. I think he's sending Tucker out a lot.
He only had one field goal that game. Now their kicker had 3.
Yeah.
3 field goals. Now that could be something on their end.
It could, I agree. It could be a field goal game. That anything that, field goals are corollary with going under, right? That's kind of modern NFL, right? If you watch the Rams and the Lions game, one team had to settle for 3, one team had to settle for 6. Even though the team that moved the ball and looked better, the Rams, they ended up losing because they scored 3 more than 7 in the crucial moments. And so if you're looking for corollary things for betting, like I like the under in this game. A lot of people like the under. Field goals going over happens a lot when the unders hit, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I don't see the field goal here. What I did see I thought was interesting.
I haven't ever even tried it. At least I can't recall if I've tried it. I wonder if DK will let you do kicker.
Yeah, I think you can. I don't know if you can do same game, though. I know you can do a kicker parlay.
Same game, kicker.
Yeah, you can try it. I don't know.
And you can do, and I think DK offers both kicker total points now, too. DK's got so many props. Like, if you're into golf props, guys, like this is the first full week. DraftKings has literally blown everyone out of the water now in props. And I'm not talking just football. I'm talking like in all their sports. Their props are crazy.
Yeah, here it is. Fair Barn. I'm assuming that's how you pronounce his name. Over 1.5 at plus 140. That's pretty decent value.
Yeah.
That's pretty decent value. That's something to look at. That could be a later pick later on, but it won't be a best bet. But I like I said, I like the
Scroll down a little.
Yeah, kicking points.
Oh, well, so that's crazy to me. Scroll up. Like, stop right there. All right. So just like I don't even understand that. So the kicking points is 5.5 minus 105. Right? And the over is 1.5. The under on that's 180. The math doesn't add up there. In my opinion. Like they're almost telling you that Houston's not going to be able to score 2 TDs.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does.
Yeah. Because they're not worried. They're not worried about like 3 TDs and a field goal burning them on that total points. They set it so low, and then they just left you. They like dared you to take the over with the minus 105. But if you take the under on the field goals, they're almost juicing you 2-1. So like,
yeah, which is a little odd.
Yeah. So again, like I said, if you're looking for value, Houston team total under. Like the books are kind of telling you in other ways of where they feel about certain things.
Yeah, for sure. Something to look at.
Yeah, if you're able to connect the dots. That's why I always look at props, man. And I tell people this. I know fantasy season's over, but I get this question a lot. hey, man, what should I do between these two players? And I always tell people, the first thing you should do if you're between two players, like in flex on your own fantasy team, go to DraftKings and see what they've got them in in daily fantasy, and go see what their what their value is, what their what you have to pay to put that player in your lineup. And if there's a little bit of a difference, go with the more expensive player. Like DraftKings does their algorithms. They know just as much as we know. So I tell everyone that DraftKings can be a tool in fantasy too.
Absolutely. For sure. Yeah, I love that play, and I think everything's hinting at what the take was, right? The team total in Baltimore, straight up at -9. So, I like that play. All right, let's go to Sunday's AFC matchup. We'll stay in DraftKings since we're here because we're doing props anyway. I did lock in my plays, though, for this particular game on ESPN, so the line might be a little bit different. But this is my biggest bet of the week. This is my favorite play of the week. And I am going.
You got me anticipated here because I didn't see anything in the chat about this game, so I'm learning out there with the listeners.
I'm going over 6.5 receptions for Travis Kelce. I went back and looked. Right, last 3 games against Buffalo, at least 10 targets, regular season and playoffs. But what I went back and really looked at, here's the gem for Travis Kelce. His uptick in the playoffs is insane. Yeah, last week was the first time he hasn't scored in a playoff game in 8 games. The last 10 playoff games, he scored in 8 games. And then in the last 9 games, he's had over 70 yards in every single game. This is where Mahomes and Travis pick it up for the playoffs. And this is why they're so dangerous. I love Travis Kelce in this game. This tells me a Travis Kelce game all over it. We saw him wake up against in the last game. Who did he play? Who did Casey play? Miami. You saw him wake up in Miami in cold frigid weather. 7 catches, 71 yards. If you go back and look at the research, this is all out here. This is not me just pulling it out of hat. If you go and do the research and you look at Travis Kelce's playoff numbers, they are simply ridiculous over the last 9 games, over 3 years. So this is not just a trend over a year or two. Since they won the Super Bowl, if you look at his numbers, they're glaring from receptions to touchdowns, 2 yards. I have Travis Kelce over 6.5. I got it on ESPN. I got it at plus money. Lock me in. This is a 4-unit play for me. I absolutely love this play. And I also have another 2-unit play on him scoring. I can't ignore the numbers for Kelce. Probably, arguably, the greatest tight end in history to play the game. And I think you see that on full display here. I'm looking for it now on DraftKings to see his receptions. His receptions at 5.5 at -140. Like I said, on DraftKings, on ESPN bets, it was plus money. I'm already locked in. You can go to ESPN and do that. Let me see if they have the alt receptions here. I don't think they do. They don't have alt receptions here as of yet. He's at 5.5 at -140, which I still think is a steal, even though you're going to pay for the juice. If Casey wins this game, Kelce's going to have a game, and he's going to do what Travis Kelce does. Absolute, everything Kelce in this game, I like. And I took his anytime touchdown score. That was at plus 115. I just think that there's too much value on Kelce here. Hall of Fame player, Hall of Fame tight end, arguably the greatest tight end to ever play. I'm on Travis Kelce, everything in this game. Lock me in. Travis Kelce, plus 140. It's even better odds on here. Lock that in. He has a day in this game. He has a day. A lot of people think this is Buffalo's year to get past Kansas City because especially it's Mahomes' first road game in the playoffs. Yeah, okay, we'll see about that. We'll see who makes the mistake first. and KC versus Buffalo. Love this matchup, though. Love this rivalry that's building. Sooner or later, Buffalo will get over the hump. Unfortunately, I don't think it's this game. I like KC to win the game too.
KC to win. Are you taking them money line?
I would take the money line. I don't have a bet on KC to win, but in a coin flip game, you're giving me Mahomes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love Allen. We talk how he's a cyborg, and as a quarterback. And what he can do, he just makes those mistakes that Mahomes doesn't. He just does. And Kelce and Mahomes, their game raises in the playoffs. They just do. When you look at the numbers and you look how they play, it just raises the game. And now they have somewhat of a legit running game. They have Rice coming on as well. You still got, Big Red in terms of coaching this team the right way. He'll have a wrinkle here and there just to keep them, keep Buffalo off case. Buffalo's going to have to press to win this game. They're going to need Stephon Diggs to have a Stephon Diggs type game. And he's been MIA for a good amount for whatever reason. I like Kincaid on the Buffalo side here as well. They'll use those tight ends. But let's remember, KC, this is the best defense Patrick Mahomes ever had. And that passing defense is top-notch with those two rookie corners. Yeah, man. Give me Travis Kelce, anytime touchdown over 6.5 alternate receptions. Lock me in.
I like that. So the interesting part about this matchup, and I think I haven't pulled the trigger on a bet in this game yet, but I am actually leaning the Chiefs. Everyone is saying it's the Bills' year, and that is true. But man, the part of me thinks that I like Sean McDermott, dude. He's a LaSalle grad. He graduated out of high school, dude. But
yes, sir.
He's not Andy Reid. Andy Reid is gonna win that matchup. Okay, so
yep.
I'm already factoring in the fact that Andy Reid will come up with something. I think Steve Spagnuolo is as good a defensive coordinator as in the National Football League. No team has been able to score 30 points on the Chiefs all year. The Bills had 20 points last time they played. They put Josh Allen in a torture chamber. L'Jarius Sneed's as athletic of a corner as there is in the National Football League. He can run with Stephon Diggs or Gabe Davis all day long. And when I look at the first matchup, and I remember watching the game, Kansas City couldn't run. And it was that game that Isaiah Pacheco was hurt. They had no downhill running game. So it was just like pass, pass, pass. They had a bunch of drops. It was that, they should have basically beat the Bills, and they lost it. Wasn't it the game where old boy got tackled? Didn't Rice get tackled? Wasn't that the over-the-back bomb Mahomes threw it at the very end, or was that where MVS dropped it? I thought he dropped it versus us.
I think he dropped it, yeah.
MVS dropped it versus us. I think the game versus the Bills was the one where Rashee Rice basically got tackled, and they didn't call pass interference at the goal line.
Yeah.
Long story short, if Isaiah Pacheco's in this game and he's providing that downhill threat, I just don't know if Buffalo can win that 20-16 game again this time around if you're swapping out Clyde Edwards-Helaire for Isaiah Pacheco. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's kind of the difference in this game. I figured this would be the Teaser King special. I figured he'd be all over the Chiefs, teased up. So I figured we'd have something from Diddy in this game. I like the under. Under. I like the under. It's not going to be a big play. I was kind of leaning, back and forth. I think all my bets this week have been just 3 units. I was thinking about 5, but I went 3 on the CJ Stroud passing prop. I went 3 here. I just like the under. I think both defenses are going to be able to bottle up both QBs.
Yeah. I agree, and I just it just sucks because I am a Josh Allen fan, but Josh Allen to throw a pick, I want to see what those odds are because he does. He's a turnover machine. Josh Allen to throw a pick at -105.
And I feel like that's the game, right? Like, I feel like if Josh Allen plays clean, they're going to win. If he has a turnover, they might lose.
And he's a turnover. He's had a turnover in almost every game this year.
Yeah.
And could it be the game that he shows up and that It's possible, but I've seen him become a monster against Kansas City. I think last game in Kansas City, he had like almost 350 yards total yards or something like that. 380 yards. The game when they went overtime in the playoffs. He went off.
Yeah.
And it still wasn't enough. It's just not enough. So I'm gonna add this interception prop here, Josh Allen. Just a small bet for a unit. I'm going with the trend. I'm going with the numbers, and unfortunately, I think he gives up that chicken. All right.
That's fair.
All right, let's switch it up. Let's go back to the NFC. We'll go back to Saturday's game. The surprising Green Bay Packers beat the Dallas Cowboys against now travel to San Fran. San Fran's favorite -9.5. Total is 50.5. Money line is -440. This line has been jumping all over the place, man. I saw it opened up at 9, jumped up to 9.5. I saw it at 8.5. Let me check ESPN's if it's still there. No, it's back up to 9 at a Niners. So, some Green Bay support there. And then it went right back up for the Niners side. Niners are rested, coming off a bye. They should be full go. I think the only thing that I was somewhat worried about or saw was that what's his name? Kittle was having back spasms. So he wasn't practicing, I think, yesterday. So that's the only thing that kind of keep an eye open for. But other than that, I'm not really sure if there's any other issues there from the Niners. I know CMC had a small calf issue, but he's got 2 weeks worth of rest. He came out and said he could have played if he needed to be week 18. So he got 2 weeks of rest. So he should be full go. I'm actually on CMC here in terms of his player prop. I do like his rushing prop. I feel like it's pretty low. Oh, well, it was low. So full disclosure, I got it on ESPN bets at 87.5. It is on now, jumped up damn near 4 yards, 91.5.
Damn.
I think the path to this game for San Francisco is to continue what they do. They just have too many weapons. Love Jordan Love and what he's done, but he's just running into a bad element here against the San Francisco 49ers. Now, you could say the same thing against Dallas, but there's been huge history that came out, I think, right before the game, or if you dug deep enough, of how good the Green Bay Packers has been against Dallas in the last 8 games. It was like insane. I think we're like 7-0-1 ATS against them. And they've beaten Dallas like 4 or 5 times in Dallas the last game. So if you were able to find those gems, then kudos to you, and you made the right play in if you touched that money line. I think that was 2 to 3 to 1 on the money line, so that was a great bet. Checked ESPN bets; it is up on ESPN bets at 91.5. So unfortunately, I got the better of the number at 87.5. I don't know if I can tell people to bet that at 91. That's a pretty decent change. Do I think CMC goes over 100 yards? Probably, more than likely. They're going to run him. They're not going to keep him, they're not going to save him for the next round. If they go up big, fourth quarter, yeah, maybe. But he breaks a good 25, 30-yard run most games. So I right now have CMC over at 87.5. So that's kind of up to you of how you feel. I would probably say I would lean over 91.5 at this point. I might not bet it, but I still feel pretty comfortable that he hits that number of 91.5. So, and you look back, Green Bay's defense, not good at all, especially against the run. This is why I like this play. And CMC is the Niners' offense. It's where it all starts, setting up the run game. You guys know how Shanahan plays with those rushing attacks. So give me CMC over 87.5, and I lean over 91.5.
So what's crazy about CMC is they basically DraftKings, like, remember how long ago we were talking about, like, he was on a run where you could just bet his rushing over for 20 straight weeks, and he hit it every week. And then there was a streaky where, like, 18 straight anytime touchdowns. And, like, dude, the books lost so much money on Christian McCaffrey the last 20 games of his. Like, and I mean, like, no, I'm dead serious. And I'm talking like sharp money coming in that's like 6-figure bets on props and smoking them for weeks on end. Bro, they've totally changed the betting market on CMC. Like, I've never seen anything like it. Like, they don't even offer an alt rushing and receiving. Like, you can, like everyone else, you can be like, oh, I wonder what would happen if he rushes for 150. Let me see what they'd pay out. Well, when you go look at his, it's not even an option. They're like, nah, bro, we're not paying you out on 200. We're not paying you out on 150, and we're juicing the shit out of 125. So it's like,
he's plus 205 at 120.
Well, that's alt rushing. I'm talking about his alt receiving plus rushing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like they'll put guys at 100 where you get good value, 150 where you get great value. Like his,
he's at 130.
His is 120. It's just so he's just totally dead to me as a prop player. I know that sounds crazy. He's been dead to me for months. And what I was interested at, I wanted to see if anyone was going to hang a Deebo Samuel rushing attempt prop, and no one's doing that. I'm having a tough time finding anything to bet in this game other than the fact that I think Green Bay just gets mollywopped.
Yeah, the only thing that I would bet here, the other bet that I was looking at is just, Love has been playing pretty well. So I kind of like his over passing yards. Aaron Jones is coming off a career year, 3 touchdowns. I think I just read right now that A.J. Dillon did not practice yesterday, still thumb and neck issues. So, if Jones is the bell cow there, I think that, the game, they'll obviously run through him. That you can have some success running against this attacking defense, I believe. So let me see. What is his rushing props? It'd be really tough. 71 is a lot.
Jones?
Yeah.
71 I've been looking at some of his rushing and receiving, but
yeah, that's a
91 and a half on rushing and receiving.
That's not too bad because he's going to be part of the passing game for sure.
Yeah. The one that's interesting is Deebo. Deebo is 79 and a half on rushing and receiving.
Yeah, I thought that was weird too. I saw that. I just saw that. I thought, yeah, that's low.
Yeah, because I feel like this is a game where he's going to get a bunch of rushing attempts coming off of extra bye week where he'll be rested. Like, they'll be running him like crazy.
Yeah, I wonder about that. I don't know what this game plan is. Like, how do you, because Green Bay played so well last game, and the numbers that Dallas had were inflated because they were throwing the whole game pretty much.
I mean, when you tell me George Kittle has back spasms, I'm instantly thinking, okay, this is a Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel. Run. We're running your ass over. Yeah. And then we're just going to play action deep shot to Jennings and Ayuk off that. And we'll save Kittle for next week. That's kind of what that tells me if I'm a coach, just kind of studying Shanahan for a while.
That's early, though, right? We're talking about it was Wednesday.
Yeah, no. I agree. But I'm just thinking out loud. Like, if you're coming off a bye, but remember, they're coming off a bye. So if you're coming off a bye and George Kittle is still having back issues, like, it's probably more likely than not you don't focus on him as the game plan. Instead, you'll be like, hey, let's develop all these counter reads because their game. You know how they work. Like, everything is that jet motion with Deebo, and then it's a guard tackle counter, off like basically a sweep or off tackle counter with Christian McCaffrey, and then they've got some built-in pass option off that Purdy can basically pull it and throw it. So I don't know. I just feel like that Deebo McCaffrey part of the offense is going to get a lot of touches.
Yeah, and if Kittle's full go, just full disclosure, I would be betting on Kittle because I was on Ferguson heavy last week. I told everybody about that Ferguson play. Green Bay is horrible against tight ends, especially good tight ends. So it would his number's pretty low at 50. I think Ayuk is low. Like you said, you think the Niners are going to roll here.
Oh, yeah. That's my top bet in this game. Like, the Niners, Green Bay was an awesome story this year. Houston Texans were an awesome story this year. Their season ends, and it's probably going to end in bad fashion.
And I think the over makes sense here too a lot. I like.
Like if you told me this score was 42-21,
exactly,
I'd be like, okay, yeah,
exactly. Like I feel pretty like what's their team total? I feel pretty confident that the Niners might score 30 here.
So I feel exactly the same way as I felt last week on the team total. I was going to give that out as my second best bet. Win or lose, this week I feel more confident that Green Bay the Niners attach it with a win and a cover. But regardless, like to me, Green Bay's defense is not good. Their defensive coordinator is not good. Joe Barry is really just basically Matt LaFleur's friend. He gets lit up like a Christmas tree. I mean, hell, even Carolina was scoring 30 on their defense.
Let me ask you this. Isn't LaFleur part of the Shanahan tree?
He is. And Kyle owns him.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I totally once you said LaFleur, I almost forgot about that.
Yeah. Right? Isn't that right?
I think so, right? I think he's part of that, the Shanahan tree. Now, not the Mike Shanahan. Not the Mike Shanahan.
LaFleur's part of the Shanahan tree, but I just can't remember who owns who in that matchup.
Let me look it up. Damn, Raheem Mostert had 220 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns against the Packers. Maybe my play is a little bit low.
Bro, I'm telling you, that jet sweep action with McCaffrey and Debo going to go crazy. They're going to slant. They're going to just cram it down Green Bay's throat.
Oh man,
especially coming off a bye week where those two are going to have fresh legs, bro. I'm telling you, that's why I've been waiting for a Debo Samuel rushing attempt prop, because I think this could be that game where they give him like 7 or 8 rushes.
Damn, he goes back. I'm looking at some research here. He goes back. He was part of that Mike Shanahan tree.
Yeah, no, he was. He came with them. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I think he was their tight ends coach, or McVay was their tight ends coach, and LaFleur was the wide receiver coach, or I might have those in.
Wow.
Yeah, that's Kyle Shanahan or Matt why do I always say that? Mike Shanahan's staff was pretty crazy in Washington.
Yeah. That staff was pretty crazy. Okay. Yeah. I like my bet even more. Knowing that. And for my parlay bettors, if you want to add something, I think if anybody scores 2 touchdowns this week, it'll be CMC.
Yeah, I would say that CMC or McCaffrey or Debo. Like those two are going to smash the Packers.
Yeah. All right, I like it. All right, so for the last game on the NFC side, we have Tampa Bay Buccaneers traveling to Detroit. Detroit is now favorite -6.5. Total is 48.5. Money line is -265. Detroit, you guys did it. You won a playoff game, and guess what? You get to host another playoff game. Believe it or not, first time in franchise history, the Detroit Lions will host 2 playoff games, and you got Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming to town. This seems really one-sided. I can't take the Tampa Bay versus Eagles game seriously because of how bad the Eagles were in that game. So Tampa, but Tampa's quietly like hot, right? They're 6-1 in their last 7. Believe it or not, if I'm not mistaken, double check me on that one, Sharp. But I'm almost sure they're 6-1.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah,
in their last 7. So they're whether they're beating the Carolina Panthers and the Philadelphia Eagles, they're winning ball games and they're gaining confidence. And I do believe they think they can come in here and win the game. My bet on this game, I think you talked about him. You really like this player coming out of Bama, and you like him as a generational type talent running back, and that's Gibbs. I'm going with. Do I have Gibbs here? Yeah, I'm sorry. I have 2 bets here. I have Gibbs anytime touchdown. I like Montgomery. I think Montgomery is the bell cow. Obviously, he scores a lot. But if you think about it, Gibbs is right behind him. Montgomery has 13 touchdowns. Gibbs has 11. And he's not even the full guy. So Gibbs scores a lot. And then I needed to see the eye test with Laporta. He looked good last week. surprisingly, after that kind of bad knee injury. And Tampa, we've seen it for the last, out of these 6 games, in those 6 games, 4 games tight ends have scored, including last week. Give me Laporta to score here as well. He makes and helps this offense go. I don't know if he can stretch the field like he typically does, but I think he can score a touchdown. I think he'll be a factor in this game. He came out of that game unscathed, and he looked good, right? He looked crisp, didn't take a lot of big hits. I didn't see any mobility movement. He has a brace on his knee, which no player likes. But I think you see Laporta having a decent game here. I like both those players to score here. A little bit different for me in terms of how I bet props. I typically don't take touchdown bets. But for Detroit to win this game, I think these players pretty much have to score. You look at the top 4 guys are all Detroit, right? The top odds. I'm taking the 2 of the younger guys. Montgomery, I do like, but I think Gibbs can break one. You see Gibbs get some goal line carry, especially almost close at the 10-yard line. And they don't switch out. When a running back gets close, they let that running back finish the drive. So give me Gibbs. And like I said, based on Tampa's, even though they got great linebackers, they just give up yards to good tight ends. Give me Laporta to score as well at plus 115. I got the odds a little bit better here because I bet this earlier in the day. So you might not want the Gibbs bet at minus 125, but I think it's pretty telling that he's tied with the person with the highest odds to score, you know, in terms of on the slate with Gibbs. So give me Gibbs, give me Laporta. I might even mess around and put him in a 2-leg parlay. I got to do a same-game parlay. Let me see what that same-game parlay is. Bet small, win big, same-game parlay. What was it? That's not bad. Almost 3-1. I like it. That might be a small unit play for me. That's all I got on this game. I know you were probably thinking about my Amon St. Brown guy. I was looking at it, but I went in a different route.
Okay.
With this game, with that game.
Man, I forgot. Man, I was just thinking back to the Bills game.
I
forgot the Bills lost Terrell Bernard carted off. I just totally forgot about that. Just going back to my thinking, man, the Bills are going to be relying on practice squad linebacker versus Mahomes too. Oh God.
Oh yeah, because they got AJ. Who was it? AJ. They interviewed him. I forget. He was on the couch yesterday, right?
Oh yeah, AJ Klein.
AJ Klein, yeah.
The old Kansas State kid.
Yeah.
Versus Kelce. First Kelce. That I was trying to think of why I was just reading the injury report and stuff when you were talking, and I had like one of those light bulb moments. I was like, man, Kelsey's gonna have like 9 for 150.
Easy. Let's go. Let's go.
That's besides the point. Anyway, so I'm probably definitely gonna end up pulling the trigger on the Chiefs. I forgot all about that. Chiefs are gonna win that game. I hate to say it. In terms of this game, I actually like the over here. So this is going to be the total opposite of what Jalen Hurts could and our genius offensive staff, Brian Johnson, Nick Sirianni could not come up with. I think Jared Goff and Ben Johnson and Dan Campbell are going to be able to come with. So Todd Bowles has done the same thing for 20 years. If you watch his defense 20 years ago and you watch his defense now, it's the same defense. He literally walks up 8 to the line of scrimmage like every time, and then some 5 come and some 3 drop, right? That's literally like occasionally he'll just line straight up and play base defense, Vita Vea over the center and just play base and blah, blah, blah. But like on any kind of key down, this dude's going to send blitzes. Or he's going to do that dumbass dropping people at the last second, which is why you were saying, why do they give up so many tight end yards? It's because half the time they got linebackers scrambling back to death as tight ends are screaming by them. And that's like impossible to – so it's just – he's a dinosaur. Yes, they beat the Eagles. The Eagles kind of beat themselves. They literally blitzed every snap, and we didn't have any hot routes. We didn't do any max protects. We didn't do anything. Well, Jared Goff's going to do that. Like, I can assure you he's going to be like, hey, Gibbs, this dude's blitzing, this dude's not, so I need you to do this. Like, they're going to be on the same page. Ben Johnson's going to be in his ear being like, hey, watch this guy, throw to this guy. Like, everything we couldn't do, they're going to do.
For sure.
So I think the Lions are going to be able to score. But here's the thing, and Diddy was on it early, and I lost some money on it. The Lions' calling card is their run defense. Their pass defense blows. All they can do is rush the passer when Aiden Hutchinson creates chaos. But outside of that, they're just a really good run defense. So I actually think Baker Mayfield's going to be able to air it out and move the ball too, because he's in rhythm. His receivers look good when they're catching the ball.
I know, right?
So I actually think this is like a 30-20 type game where both teams cruise over 20 both teams score over 20, and I think this game goes over 50. So I actually like this. I like this over all the way up to 50.
Yeah, I like that take, and I think you don't see Mike Evans have another bad game like he did. You know, they won convincingly, but he had quietly had a terrible game. You know what I mean? He quietly had a terrible game, right? What was that, a 50-yard bomb he dropped?
He honestly cost him the first matchup where we barely beat the Bucs earlier in the year. He had a brutal end zone drop in that game and another key drop on third down late in the game. He's had 4 or 5 bad drops versus the Eagles this year, like bad.
Yeah, and I was like, this has been against the Eagles. Like, he's typically shorthanded for the most part. So I do agree. I think I do think they'll have some success throwing the ball here, specifically to Mike Evans. So I would be looking at Mike Evans props if you like Baker. Let me see what Mike Evans. 68.5 seems low. That seems real low for somebody who's going to throw for 250, 270 yards. Your best receiver, not going to have only 70 yards. So I do like that play. I do like the other side. I wasn't even looking at the other side of this, but that makes a good play. I think C.J. Gardner-Johnson changes that complexity of that defense. He was coming up and he was smacking cats. To make sure that they remember that he's lurking, he's around. So
it seemed like their game plan, they were going to try to bust up Stafford, Kupp, and Puka. Like, they were hitting those 3 boys hard. I mean, I still cannot understand. Like, what are we doing in the NFL that Matt Stafford can get his bell rung and then stepped on after he releases it, multiple seconds after he releases it, and there's no flag for late hit? Like, I don't even understand what the NFL refs – like, I truly believe this. The NFL refs are told to cause chaos so that there's shit to talk about. Like, I am totally convinced – and I'm not saying, like, rig the game. I just mean the NFL knows they're bad and actually kind of low-key likes that they're bad, because then it just adds to the bullshit. It's just, like, the extra shit people talk about.
Yeah.
Like, some of these refs are so bad. Like, I don't – it's – as someone who bets on these games, I thought the Rams should have won the game outright, and the fact he didn't get that call to me was truly disheartening.
Yeah, he was out too. There's no way.
And the fact they let him back in the game was like, damn,
it's unreal.
No one's caring about safety anymore. Fuck safety all of a sudden.
Yeah, he was completely out.
I love how it's all player safety, and then you had that game, and then you had the Chiefs playing in negative degrees. Player safety.
Yeah, for sure. That's hilarious. All right. Those are all the bets of today. Hope you guys enjoyed the bets. Hope you guys got some bets. If you're new to the channel, thank you for joining. Thank you for joining and listening to us give you our best bets of division playoffs. We won a lot of money last week. I feel pretty confident this week. And if you're not new to the channel, you can contest. Just drop in money in the comments, because this is what we do each and every single week. Go into our bracket. If you watched last week, I'll set a link up to that, our NFL bracket of what we have. We're still looking pretty good, right? Our final 4 is Baltimore versus KC and San Fran versus Detroit. That's what we had. And then it'll be Baltimore and San Fran in the Super Bowl in the rematch. So hopefully we get there. If you guys listen to that bracket, you could have put in that bet for a Baltimore versus San Fran bet early on. Hope you guys did. On a final thought, because we are Eagles fans, I'll let Sharp give his takes on what you feel is next for the Philadelphia Eagles. And try to keep it under 15.
Yeah, I got you. Well, real quick, I mean, I think today's meeting is going to go pretty clearly. Like, if you remember how it went with Doug and what these two goofballs at the top like to do sometimes, they're going to force they're going to give Sirianni one chance. They're going to say, we want to pick your coordinators because we didn't like what you did this year. And Nick's going to have to say either yes or no. If the answer is yes, you do that, boys, he's going to keep his job for one more year. If he does what Doug said and he's going to say, no, I'm choosing my coordinators, then they're going to say bye. It's really that simple. Yep. It'll come down to Nick. If he says, yes, you guys can handpick and force veteran coordinators that you guys like, I could see Frank Reich coming in for sure. If that does happen, I could see his name brought in the mix for sure. So that's, I think, where it'll start, and then it'll just kind of the ball will roll from there. Two quick things on the secondary. Darius Slay and James Bradbury have option bonuses that are due September 1st, 2024. Slay's is $12 million. Bradbury's is $11 million. Either one of them will be an Eagle next year. I can assure you that. They'll be traded or cut. The Eagle will not pay either of those option bonuses. I can assure you that. And then last but not least, I would not be shocked if either Hassan Reddick or A.J. Brown is traded. I don't think it'll be both. I don't necessarily think it'll be for sure one of them, but I think for sure one of those two will be shopped.
Here's the question that everybody has been debating, going back and forth, whether it be media, whether it be amongst your friends and chats and stuff. Will the Eagles fire Nick Sirianni?
I'm going to say no, because I think Nick's going to say yes to letting them pick his coordinators. So I think this time next year, after we win like 5 games and it doesn't get much better, or 6 games, then he'll be fired, kind of like what happened with Doug. And then maybe we'll start to look at Jalen. And one last thing, it's been 4 to 5 years. I've been studying the Eagles for 20 years, going back to McNabb, Kevin Kolb, Nick Foles, Carson Wentz, Jalen Hurts. This team takes a quarterback either round 1, round 2, or round 3 every 4 to 5 years. Another quarterback's coming. I'm not saying he's here to take Hurts' job, but knowing this front office, it would not shock me if that extra second-round pick this year is for a quarterback.
Forgot about that.
That's just the way this front office operates. They love quarterbacks.
Yeah, this is very true. Very true. Very true. Very interesting. We'll have some more of that. Sharp's Corner. It's a new show that we're going to be doing with Sharp, and some draft. That's all coming. So if you like draft talk, like Eagles talk, make sure that you guys hit the subscribe button and stay tuned. That will be coming here shortly, probably a couple weeks, maybe after the Super Bowl or maybe right after the Super Bowl. So still working through fine-tuning things, getting things right. I'll have some basketball shows and props coming up later, probably going 3 days a week. So if you like basketball picks, I started picking up on my basketball stuff. And I got how to make sports betting a side hustle tutorials coming out soon as well. So a lot of daily content for sports bettors, enthusiasts, and sports bettor lovers and beginners of sports bettors.
Yep.
A lot of daily contact, and we cover it all from sports betting to draft to Eagles, all the above. My name is Moss Money. That's CSharp. This is MoneyPot Betting. Happy hunting. Let's go this weekend. Let's make some more money. See you guys next week for the conference championship games.
Ring the bell. Let's get it.